The sky turns completely black at midday. The ground violently rips open beneath their feet, and inside the most heavily guarded sacred room of the temple, a massive, untearable veil suddenly shreds itself from top to bottom. This wasn't just another brutal Roman execution. It was the exact second the laws of the universe were permanently rewritten. But how could the darkest, most agonizing and unjust murder in human history possibly be called good? What actually happened in the unseen spiritual realm the moment Jesus Christ gasped his final 3 words, the truth behind his sacrifice, changes absolutely everything. To truly understand the magnitude of that Friday, you have to step into the suffocating dust of Golgotha. This wasn't just an execution, it was a public spectacle of ultimate degradation. Crucifixion was biologically engineered by the Romans to be the absolute threshold of human torture. Every agonizing breath required Jesus to push up on a shattered nervous system, scraping his shredded back against rough timber just to pull in a single gasp of air. For 6 hours, the Son of God, the very Word who spoke galaxies into existence, hung there stripped, humiliated, and suffocating. To the naked eye, it looked like an absolute devastating defeat. The religious leaders sneered, the disciples scattered in terror, and the empire believed they had successfully crushed just another peasant rebellion. The world saw a tragedy. It felt like darkness had won the ultimate victory. But look closer at the wood of that cross. He wasn't just carrying the physical weight of a battered human body. He was carrying you. Every lie, every betrayal, every hidden addiction, and every ounce of shame you have ever carried was being violently compressed into that single, agonizing moment in history. The infinite, crushing justice of a holy God against all human darkness was pouring out like a terrifying flood directly onto his shoulders. But here is the shocking truth that completely flips everything we think we know about this day. We look at the cross and see a helpless victim overpowered by a corrupt system. But the Romans didn't take his life. He wasn't murdered. He orchestrated it. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he could have called down 10,000 angels to vaporize the Roman army in a split second. He didn't. He chose the nails. Why? Because the real war wasn't against the worldly empire. This was a cosmic rescue mission, and the cross was actually a trap. Satan and the religious elite thought they had finally pinned God to a tree. They thought they had permanently silenced the light of the world. But they were playing right into his hands. By willingly becoming the ultimate unblemished sacrifice, Jesus was triggering a legal loophole written into the universe before time even began. The cosmic law demanded death for human rebellion, total separation. Someone had to pay the massive spiritual debt humanity racked up. So the supreme judge stepped down from his bench, took off his robe, and paid the ultimate fine himself. But to pull off this massive transfer, he had to endure something far more terrifying than physical torture. For the first and only time in all of eternity, the Father turned his face away. The perfect eternal bond of the Trinity was ruptured. Jesus screamed into the pitch-black midday sky, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He was literally absorbing the full wrath of hell itself, so you wouldn't ever have to. And right when the demonic darkness reached its absolute suffocating peak, he took one final breath. He didn't whimper. He shouted 3 words that completely shattered the unseen spiritual realm. It is finished. In the original Greek, that single word is tetelestai. It wasn't a weak sigh of defeat. It was a massive, booming declaration of victory. It was an ancient business term that meant paid in full. The debt was permanently wiped out, but the physical world instantly reacted to this violent spiritual explosion. The earth convulsed, solid rocks split wide open, and inside the temple, that massive heavy veil isolating God's holy presence from humanity was violently ripped apart. Not from the bottom up by human hands. It was torn from the top down. God was breaking out. The ancient barrier was completely destroyed. But why does that exact violent moment mean absolutely everything for your life right now? Because that torn veil means the absolute end of your separation from God. For centuries, humanity had to stand on the outside looking in, blocked by their own brokenness. But when Jesus breathed his last, he didn't just pay your penalty, he literally kicked down the doors of heaven for you. You no longer need a priest, an animal sacrifice, or a flawless track record to approach the creator of the universe. The blood of the Lamb cleared the path. You can now walk straight into the holy presence of God, completely forgiven, completely justified, and entirely washed clean. That is exactly why the darkest day in human history is universally called good. It was agonizing for the physical body of Jesus, and it was a catastrophic defeat for the kingdom of darkness, but it was the single greatest victory in the history of mankind. The cross was the ultimate divine exchange. He took your death so you could take his life. He wore your crown of thorns so you could wear a crown of righteousness. He was completely forsaken so you would never ever have to be alone. When you look at the cross today, you don't have to see a symbol of guilt or a tragic reminder of death. You are looking at the final receipt of your salvation. It is the undeniable proof that there is no sin too dark, no past too broken, and no distance too far for the relentless love of God to reach you. The unseen spiritual war for your soul was fought on the dust of Golgotha, and the enemy permanently lost. Your debt is cancelled, the veil is torn, the rescue mission is perfectly, completely, and eternally finished. But knowing your debt is cancelled and actually living in that radical freedom every single day are often two entirely different things. The enemy permanently lost the war, but he will still try to whisper the same old lies of guilt and shame to pull you back into the dark. If you are ready to completely silence those voices, step fully into your restored identity and stand unshakable in the daily victory Jesus already won for you. Click the video on your screen right now. We are going to uncover the exact biblical truths you need to protect your peace and walk in absolute freedom.